If you want to be a great videographer and you want to level up your skills in your career, there's 3 tips that I have for you that you should really take into consideration that's going to make you ultimately a better filmmaker. So let's talk about it. All right, so advice number 1 that I have for you if you want to level up your skills in your videography career is going to be understanding framing. You need to know how to frame certain subjects. You need to know what to add into frames and what to remove from certain frames. Every great cinematographer and every great movie out there, they focus on framing. Framing is pretty much one of the most important steps when it comes to being a successful DP. You have to know how to frame things. I have seen, and I personally have filmed projects where there was an amazing scene, there's an amazing shot, but my framing was off. My framing was bad. I had things in frame that shouldn't have been in frame, or there was things that I should have added in frame that I didn't add. Framing and paying attention to framing is vitally important. It's your job as the DP to be monitoring that. It's your job to be paying attention to those little details. You're not just having a subject stand in one place, hitting the record button and going on about your business. That's not how it works. If you want to get better at your career and you essentially want more clients to hire you, you need to be focusing on your framing. At the end of the day, as filmmakers, we are problem solvers. We're coming in to solve a problem for a client. Take an interview, for example. In one of my last behind the scene vlogs that I posted, I talked about how the client gave me a room that was just really ugly. There was nothing in the room. There's nothing that I really could use. The framing in that room was kind of hard. So I had to improvise. I had to add things to the set to essentially make it look more pleasing, to bring more life to it. There's appropriate time to add things to frames, and then there's appropriate time to remove things from frames. And what I mean by removing anything that could be a distraction. If there's wires hanging down in the background, or if there's a broken pot that you don't really want it there because it's not fitting the vibes and the scenario that you're going for. You need to make sure that your subject that you're filming is properly aligned up. If you want to use the rule of thirds, go ahead and use the rule of thirds. If you want to line them dead on like this, make sure there's enough headroom. You know, if it's too high like this, you don't want to have the interview guy like this and then look, now you can't see my eyeballs, or you don't want to have them too low where you have all this clearance right here. You want to make sure that framing is on point. Whether it be you set up an interview like this, you're going to want to make sure that you don't have this dead space right here. Honestly, if I was setting up an interview right here, I probably would go other way, probably go like a little bit right here just to show that annoying little clock right there, you know? And you don't want to have the background over here completely dark out. That's why I put a tube light over there in the corner, just to add more pop to it. And I could honestly use another light to separate me a little bit more, but I can guarantee you, if you pay attention more to your framing, you will 100% become a great videographer. And it's going to get to the point where it's going to be so natural for you. It's just going to be something that you naturally just do. It's going to be a routine, essentially. Okay, advice number 2 is going to be understanding camera movement. This and framing, out of everything I'm going to tell you, are the 2 most important things if you want to be a successful, great, inspiring, motivational videographer, whatever you want to label yourself as. All jokes aside, camera movement is seriously, that's very important. You can have a great shot. You can have subjects dressed in the finest wardrobes. The camera movement is awful. The shot is not going to make sense. I'm guilty of this. There are some shots and some scenes where just everything in the background, between the wardrobe, the set design, everything looks so good. The camera movement was just so off that it just didn't properly tell the story that I was initially trying to tell. If you're filming a fitness promo video and you're filming 2 fighters fighting in a ring, boxing, you don't want to just be standing there and not moving around with their punches. You want to get in the fight with them. You want to be the 3rd fighter with them. You want those fast hits. You want that shaky camera movement. All of that is going to fit in the story that you're trying to tell. Honestly, if you want to learn good camera movement, watch Extraction. That series, that movie, it's really good, and pay attention to how they had the camera movement. It's essentially putting you in the film as if you were there, and having great camera movement can do that. Number 3 is going to be understanding false color. This is an essential tool that you should basically try to learn and understand if you're going to take this professional. Most third-party monitors that you use are going to have false colors. My opinion, the best monitor that I personally use that has the best false colors and the most accurate, I would say, is Small HD. I personally don't own a Small HD monitor. I used one once when I was a DP for a friend's feature film. I was using his Red Komodo and he had a Small HD Indy 7, I believe it was. and that monitor was great. The false colors was really, really good. It's different than the Atomos monitor. Point is, understanding false colors is very important, especially if you want to nail proper exposure. Learning false colors isn't too hard. There's some YouTube videos out there that really overcomplicate it, and there's other videos that make it very simple and easy to understand. I'm not going to get into it into this video, but it's something that you should consider. It's something that you should look into more. If you understand false colors, you're gonna get proper exposure. You're gonna get the proper exposure on your subject's skin tone. You're gonna get the proper exposure for the highlights, the shadows. It's important. It's very, very important. Especially, it's gonna make your color grading process a lot more easier. You're gonna save yourself in post-production. Well, that's it for today's video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. I really hope that you learned something out of the 3 advices that I gave you. If you liked today's video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Without further ado, I'm gonna catch you in the next video. Naviantu, Banjoni.